So, when was the last time you were at a get together and somebody said, "Hey, tell me again how you guys met?" That is always a really cringeworthy story for us. And we don't get tired of telling it because we're pretty happy today. We've been married almost 30 years, and we dated for probably about 7 years before that because we just weren't sure that we wanted to settle down with each other. So, here's how we met. I was in recovery. I was probably a year and a half. I know I was a year and a half sober. And if you were a year and a half sober in our area, you could go into a facility and talk to people, patients that were recovering from drug, alcohol use, and you could tell them what it was like to live a sober life. I had worked through steps in a 12-step program, and I had made a lot of changes. I still had a lot of things to change, but I made a lot of changes. So I was on that list, and I finally made my 18 months, got to go in and talk to some, like 20 patients. Most of them were a little bit younger, 30 or younger, and they were mostly kind of like in sweats and pajamas, stuff like that. It was a very humbling experience for them, and I was feeling pretty proud of myself because even though 18 months is not all that much, you can make a lot of changes and you can feel really good about how you turn your life around from addiction in an 18-month period. So I gave the talk about what it meant to me to be clean and sober, how I had done it, and what it might look like for them if they wanted to go on that journey. And when I was done, one of the guys from the back, he was kind of a punk kid with a baseball cap on, came up to me and he said, "Hey, I have a question for you." And I'm like, "Sure." He kind of reminded me of my stepson at the time. And actually, there's not much age difference. But he said, "I'm kind of pre-engaged. And I was just wondering if that's a thing that I should worry about or if I should not be, worried about this woman in early sobriety." And I said, "You know what? Pre-engaged, I think sobriety should be the most important thing in your life. So you do what you need to do, but I know keeping sobriety as a priority is what got me 18 months." And that's how I met him. I think the rest is another story. It's another video. But I think if somebody, both starting out with an addiction and learning to stay clean and sober, can date for 7 years off and on, and then finally make the plunge and then stay married for almost 30 years, I think we have learned some lessons the hard way and have a little bit of experience to share. And you don't have to learn all your lessons the hard way. That's what we're here for. We can tell you what we did, what didn't work, and what you might try to save yourself some headache and some pain. So that's Kathy McLeish. My husband is Scott. We are